So here we are in game turn 6 of the Sword of Rome, at the end of the first round. And what do we got? Well, the Romans were picked to go first, as seen by that. And they moved forward to Antium and laid siege to it. The Vasci did not succeed in intercepting. They would have been outnumbered, but some people might have been willing to throw cards in, so, because I think Rome is in the lead right now. And then we go over to the Gauls, who played to get their special leader, Brennus. It's got a 3 combat value and a 1 activation, which is a pretty good combination, actually. And then for the Samnites, they moved in to siege Capua, and the Romans could do nothing about that. They had already moved forward. The Greeks moved over to Heraclea. They're trying to connect things up. This is probably not terribly useful in terms of, oh gee, we need to win, we're falling behind, whatever. But because of Thurii, they have to try and connect up. Carthage opened up into Messina, and now they're besieging the Greek army under Timoleon. And that's kind of painful. So pretty much Sicily is theirs if things don't change. The Romans swept from the north to attack Brennus. And the Samnites jumped in and helped with a card. Violent wind and thunderstorms ends up preventing a battle from happening. It's removed from the game after it. Kind of a cost to do that, but at this point it seems like trying to stop the Romans is more important than hoping to use that card for themselves. And now after 2 rounds, let's see what else happened. The Gauls marched down with Brennus to siege Narnia. The Samnites played a campaign and tried to siege Capua themselves. That didn't work, but they also moved the Gauls down to Pisae, which did work. There's another siege there for the Gauls. That's putting the Romans into a dangerous position, especially when the Greeks followed up by moving the Vasci up to make another siege. And we're seeing all the Roman cities kind of under attack by someone. They're going to have to react in some way. Finally, the Etruscan, or the Carthaginians made a quick sail out to Cardus. They're planning on trying to seal the Greeks' fate. The Greeks are pretty much doomed at this point, but they're feeling kind of anti-Roman too. They might be able to hold out. They have some points, so they might make some kind of decent placement in the game, whereas Carthage and the Samnites, who have a lot to gain off of various people, are probably going to end the game at a lower ranking. After 3 rounds in the 6th turn, the Romans swept down to Pisae, opened up a siege there. Okay, big deal. The Gauls, oh no, they did not move to Pisae. Where did they go? Oh, Antium. I'm sorry about that. The Gauls tried to activate their siege in Pisae, and that failed. And then to the Samnites, they succeeded in their siege of Capua. They had to play one of their, I hope I didn't put it here. They had to play one of their Desperate Times cards, and they discarded their hand and got a new hand so that they could actually, they had a handful of 1-point cards. The Greeks converted Heraclea, and the Carthaginians converted Cardus. So I'm kind of seeing people trying to consolidate something. I'm not sure what. The Romans are definitely in trouble because they're outnumbered. They don't have the actions. The campaign card that they had, they used. That was great, but it didn't work. And now they're facing so many different sieges. It's really tough for them to gain territory faster than they're losing it. On the other hand, it's not like other people are getting lots and lots of victory points. Now, the Samnites are definitely improving. The Carthaginians are definitely improving. But the Gauls and the Greeks are the two who are really in contention, and neither of them's gaining anything. So this is kind of a nice dynamic right now where everybody, where all the leaders are kind of losing ground. Now the Gauls, they don't really have a good shot at this moment until they restore their home territory, but they can't do that yet. They may turn in some plunder if they get it to restore those to get better victory points. Swinging around for the fifth of the, or that was the end of the fourth round, the Romans went into Pisa and drove the Gauls out. They couldn't continue their advance. The Gauls are now in Populonium. So retreats are made under the tactical rating. Pursuits are made under the tactical rating. Both people had ones. The Gauls got lucky to get out of there at all. Going to the Gauls, they sieged Narnia. Now they succeeded. So they got a load of plunder, and they spent 2 of those plunder to get their victory point cities back under their control. So they're not going to lose points this turn. They're not gaining much, but at least they're somewhere. Now to the Samnites, they moved into Neapolis and are beginning a siege there. The Greeks are sieging whatever this is, Consentia. That's actually subjugation. They're trying to get rid of the tribe there. They're moving to try to get to Rhegium. Just trying to reduce the losses that they're going to take on the table as the Carthaginians, who still haven't done anything about Messina, but moved up from Cardus up to Olbia and defeated the Greek army there, but no losses were taken on either side. So now they're in Turris. Turris isn't worth anything. We're going to see what happens with attrition, etc. There may be no armies there at the end of all this. So I figured out what that Roman tribe's up there for. The Romans won a battle down here in Populonium, and were able to grab control of a Gallic victory point space because of it. Now, obviously that's not going to stay. The Gauls ran up there, and they'll convert it if they don't get attritioned. But even if they do, they have plunder that they can spend on it. And that's the end of 5. So, after the Gauls moved up to the north, the Samnites, what did they do? The Samnites only had a 1-point card. They could not figure a single thing out that they could do with a single point card. Oh yes, they can. They own some cities. So they'll upgrade their loyalty at one of their cities. Okay, fair enough. I forgot they had conquered some Roman cities. The Greeks rearranged their minor leaders and marched down to Cardus. The Carthaginians said, we don't want to take the chances on the attrition roll. Chances are that we'll lose. So they just converted Olbia. And now it's up in the air whether or not the Greeks are going to survive. But if they do, they get to hold on to a victory point space. That's it. I'll wrap up the last actions of the turn over in the sequence of play. We got the attrition, surrender, isolation, scoring, blah blah blah, and come back after that. Ah well, that's the end of the game. Ended up in a Roman victory. Why? Well, one, I was kind of wrong. The Gauls had to do this during their own turn as the active player, and they chose to take the 1 in 3 chance essentially to convert it. I'm okay with that because I've made so many screw-ups in this game that I think, it's only fair that it gets lost on a screw-up. One more screw-up I found, and again, this one's just pure me, because I was vaguely aware of the rule, but, you need at least 3 combat strength points. CUs, not SPs, of course, like every other game. You need at least 3 combat strength points in order to siege something. I don't think I've always been following that. It certainly hit things this turn. The Greeks survived up at Cardis. The siege of Messina, the Carthaginians took it. Antium fell. I don't know if that was up there on that. But Sutrium and Consentia, neither one of those could fall because of losses due to attrition. So anyway, that's where we are. I'll come back with with kind of a review of the whole game. Well, of what I think of the game, which, obviously I had a lot of trouble with it, but I also think it's a really good game, and I'll go into that in a little bit.